Hello, everybody. This presentation is a preview of our workshop where everybody presents their logo to the rest of the class and the rest of the class gives feedback. Here is a quick story of the Olympics logo. 1896 Greece. For the first Olympic Games, they didn't either have a logo or a poster. This official program's cover page is usually used as a reference to the games of the first Olympiad. We see the prototypical symbols, the Acropolis, Athena, the goddess of strength and skill, the branch of wild olive, and the Olympic Stadium designed in horseshoe shape on the background. The classic composition connects the games of antiquity and the first games of the modern era. 1900 Paris. The program of the second modern Olympic Games was established during the 1900 Universal Exhibition and built up of international physical exercise and sports competitions such as athletics, rowing, cycling, fencing, and gymnastics. An interesting fact about depicting the female fencer on one of the posters holding the traditional weapons, as women did not compete in the fencing competition until 24 years later. 1904 San Luis, the wide-angle view of San Luis City, the host of the Summer Games. Still not quite a logo, but a reproduction of the Games program cover. 1908 London. In 1908, Rome was chosen as a host city for the Summer Olympic Games. The unfortunate eruption of Mount Vesuvius on April 7, 1906, devastating the city of Naples, became the reason for choosing another place. So London was selected for the first time as host for the Olympics. The official program poster of London 1908 was presented in the form of ancient stone, signed with an image of a runner jumping over the obstacle. 1912, Stockholm. Referring to the ancient Greek traditions, the 1912 Stockholm poster depicts nude athletes carrying the fluttering flags of all nations united for a common goal, the Olympic Games. 1920, Antwerp, Belgium. All participating nations sued together, twining around the discobulus, which was the symbol of the games of antiquity. The hosting city of Antwerp, with the Tower of Notre Dame seen on the background. This was the introduction to the 5 rings designed by Pierre de Coubertin in 1914. 1924, Paris. Paris Games logo made a new step in the designing thought of the Olympic symbol. The entire image was created in the icon format, using no colors and simpler shapes, presented in engraven manner. It is assumed that this logo might have been influenced by the modern art movement. 1924, Chamonix, France. The author of the first Olympic Winter Games poster is Auguste Matisse. I just want to let you know that starting now, there is an icon on the upper right corner, which is going to be blue for the Winter Olympic Games, and it's going to be yellow for the Summer Games. 1928, Amsterdam. More of an expressive painting than a poster showing a runner holding the symbol of victory, a laurel branch. The wavy red, white, and blue lines representing the colors of the hosting country's national flags. 1928, St. Maurice, Switzerland. The union of the Swiss and Olympic flags with the St. Maurice landmark. The Piskorvach mountain on the background. This iconic poster was printed in 12,000 copies, and this was the first poster with the Olympics rings. 1932, Los Angeles. A coat of arms composition with a reshaped American flag, the Olympic rings. The Olympic motto, Citius Altius Fortius, which means faster, higher, and stronger, all crowned with a laurel branch. 1932, Lake Placid, USA. A ski jumper silhouette flying above the US map with Lake Placid indicated. The color is effective and helps the understanding of the logo. 1936 Berlin. This is something that happens in today's day quite often, which is instead of people letting the designer do the work, somebody else came up with another idea. So the 36 Berlin logo is the result of those two ideas. The artist, Johannes Boerland, who came up with a graphic eagle standing on 5 Olympic rings, and Dr. Lewalls, the president of the Games Organizing Committee, who was not satisfied with the artist's composition and added the bell contour to the design. 1936 Garmisch-Partner-Kirchen, Germany. The medal-like 1936 Winter Olympic logo is a single composition depicting the Garmisch-Partenkirchen Alps, the Bayern center of winter sport activities, with a ski track you can see at the bottom right of the drawing, leading to the mountains. 1948 London. A typically English emblem with the engraved Big Ben. The clock tower of the House of Parliament, the all-time symbol, significant not only for the generation of that time, but for future generations as well. The smart detail is that the clock arrows are pointing the 4 o'clock, the time at which the opening of the games was planned. 1948 St. Moritz, Switzerland. The 1948 Winter Olympics were the first to be celebrated after World War II. We see the racing sun, symbol of revival and new hopes. 1952 Helsinki, Finland. As we have been noticing, the Olympics ring are already an established part of every game's logo. The Helsinki one was supplemented with a simple graphic image of the stadium's tower. The logo was worn as a badge by the dignitaries and VIP guests at the 1952 Winter Games. 1952 Oslo, Norway. This image is a winner of the public competition held by the Games Organizing Committee, selected from 335 participant designs. The central symbol was chosen to be the silhouette of the new town hall of Oslo. 1956 Melbourne, Australia. It is the first time the Olympic torch, now one of the main associations with the Games, appears on the emblem. The discrete Melbourne 1956 logo also shows the outlines of Australia, the continent, enclosed by laurel branches on each side. 1956 Cortina d'Ampezzo, Italy. The emblem was created by Milanese artist Franco Rondinelli, who won the competition held by Italian National Olympic Committee among 79 artists. 1960 Roma, Italy. The central figure of the 60 Summer Olympic logo was deservedly chosen to be the Capitoline wolf, a legendary symbol of Rome from ancient times. The composition is perfectly finalized with the date of the games written in Roman numerals. 1960 Squaw Valley in the USA. 3 triangles combined with the Olympic rings in a geometric sculpture hiding all of the Olympic shapes, the mountains, the Olympic torch, the snowflake, the star. 1964 Tokyo, Japan. An obviously perfect choice of the central figure in the emblem of Japan's Summer 64 Games, the rising sun of the Japanese national flag, combined with golden Olympic rings in the design by Yusaku Kamekura. 1964 Innsbruck. The logo of Innsbruck Winter Games illustrates the symbolic bridge over the River Inn, referring to the idea of the union of athletes from different countries meeting on the 64 Winter Olympics. 1968, the Mexican Olympics logo recalls to the country's art traditions, forming the pattern itself. The design was born through the collaboration of 3 artists, Pedro Ramirez Vázquez, architect and president of the committee, Lance Wyman, and Eduardo Terrazas. 1968, Grenoble, France. The monochrome emblem depicting 3 red roses, the symbols of Grenoble, that are encoded into 3 circles surrounded the central shape of the snowflake. 1972, Munich, Germany. The radiant Munich logo was created by Otto Eicher, director or designer of the Visual Conception Commission. Strongly inspired by the modernist tradition, it featured a stylized sun and made clever use of a spiral effect to show rays of hope and optimism bursting out of the emblem. Since the introduction of the rings, the first one that didn't include them. 1972, Sapporo, Japan. Kazumasa Nagai's design became the official emblem of the Sapporo Games. It combines the 3 key elements: the rising sun, the main symbol of Japan, the snowflake, symbol of winter, and the traditional Olympic rings. 1976, Montreal. The 5 Olympic rings growing into a graphic interpretation of the letter M, the initial of Montreal, the host city which also represents an Olympic podium or the 3 medals. 1976, Innsbruck. 12 years later, Innsbruck remained faithful to the original Olympic emblem of the Austrian Winter Olympics, though refined a little bit to the Austrian perfection. 1980, Moscow, Russia. 5 Olympic rings bound at the bottom and aspiring up lines symbolizing racing tracks with a star at the top, the Kremlin's Spassky Tower stylization. 1980, Lake Placid, USA. Almost in a half-century, Lake Placid has become the 2nd-time host of Winter Olympic Games. The 80s emblem is a line that forms the Adirondack Mountains of the Olympic region, which become a column supporting the rings on the left. 1984 was in Los Angeles, USA. It was simple, creative, and deeply patriotic. The stars in the national US flag colors. The name of the 84 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles was the exhaustive Stars in Motion, and it looked really good. 1984, Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Traditionally, a central object of the Winter Olympic Games is the snowflake. In the Sarajevo logo, the snowflake is designed in a national embroidery manner. I don't know, do we see the athletes also celebrating together? 1988, Seoul, South Korea. The Seoul emblem represents the transformed Samsae-gui symbol used in Korean Samamism, Neo-Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism, accompanied by the 5 Olympic rings. The yellow color represents humanity, the red and blue stand for heaven and earth. 1988, Calgary, Canada. The emblem of Calgary 88 Olympic Games is extremely rich in symbolism. Snowflake as the main symbol of winter, the maple leaf, the national symbol of Canada, the traditional red color, and the hidden letter for C, Canada, and Calgary. 1992, Barcelona, Spain. Barcelona Games emblem was created by the Spanish designer Josep Trias, a dynamic drawn by hand human figure showing the intention of movement and achievement in the national colors of Catalonia. 1992, Albertville, Canada. The logo presents the flag of the Savoy region transformed into the Olympic fire, abruptly underlined with the colors of France's national flag. 1994, Lillehammer, Norway. A stylized signature natural phenomenon of Norway, Aurora Borealis, or the Northern Lights. The logo was inspired by the contact with nature, the ski, and snow. 1996, Atlanta, USA. The 96 Atlanta design is focused on the history of the Olympic Games. The torch flames gradually evolve into stars, symbolizing each athlete's pursuit of excellence. The 100 at the foot of the graphic pedestal indicates the 100th anniversary of the Olympics. 1998, Nagano. The snowflower of Nagano Games is a flower, each petal of which represents an athlete of a different winter sport. It can also be seen as a snowflake, thus it was given this double name, snowflower. 2000 Sydney, Australia. The multi-shaped figure represents any association with the hosting country that is possible. The boomerangs are suggestions of sun and rock, the blue trail of the Olympic fire as a silhouette of Sydney Opera House, the sun, the red Australian landscape. Every detail refers to the continent's image and its original inhabitants. The 2002 Salt Lake City Olympic Games. A styled snow crystal and a sun rising over a mountain. The yellow, orange, and blue colors represent the varied Utah landscape from the desert to the snowy mountain peaks. The themes for the logo were contrast, culture, and courage. 2004 Athens, Greece. A more modern take on the symbolic olive branch in the national colors of Greece. Painting-style textures and the hand-drawn symbols supplement the reference to the ancient Greek games, where the olive wreath was the official award for the Olympic champions. 2006 Turin, Italy. The emblem shows a stylized shape of the Turin signature landmark, Mole Antoniana, a symbol of ice crystals in white and blue for the snow and the sky. 2008 Beijing, China. The official emblem of the Summer Olympics was given a name of Dancing Jing, a dancing man based on the Chinese character Jing, meaning capital, from the name of the host city. The character presented in this logo could also stay for an athlete running forward and embracing the joy of victory. The clever font selection is resembling to the Chinese calligraphy. 2010, Vancouver, Canada. Ilanak de Inukshuk is the name of the Vancouver Olympic creature. The shape itself is a traditional stone sculpture used by Canada's Inuit people. The chosen colors represent different regions of the country, the coastal forests, mountain ranges, and islands. Some recognize a hockey goalkeeper in it. 2012 logo in England. However, the design has been firmly imprinted in the Olympics history under the idea of stylized and transformed 2002 numbers. But because of its aggression, maybe, it persists in memory. 2014 Sochi, Russia. It was decided to go for the simplicity and futurism in the Sochi Olympics logo. There are no drawn elements, only the strict typeface and the web address, which differs greatly from the logos of previous Olympics. 2016 Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The graphic device shows people jubilantly joining hands or athletes joining hands, while the color of scheme reflects Rio's environment. Yellow symbolizes the sun, blue the sea, and green the forest. And our last logo is the 2018 Pyeongchang in Korea, a square where the earth meets the sky and where athletes excel in snow or on ice. The first character in the emblem represents a gathering place where the three elements of Cheonjiin, heaven, earth, and human, are in harmony. The second character symbolizes snow and ice, as well as the athletes' stellar performances. Okay, we saw all of the Olympic logos from every single corner of the world. We're about to start our workshop. For us, the best way to design our logos is to understand who the client is and what do they do. Most of the logos use these elements: the flags, the racing sun, the stars in motion, the maple leaf, the Olympic prototypical symbols, the Olympic torch, the stars, the rings, the country, the olive wreath, the architecture, the buildings, the bridges, the geometric shapes, all kinds of geometric shapes, as you could see here, the typography, the different letters connotating different things, and finally the athletes, different colors and different shapes. Those are kind of like a menu of the things that you should be thinking while designing your logo. Now, we're going to apply 5 rules for designing those logos in this workshop. Rule number 1, keep it simple. The simplest solution is often the most creative. I'm only showing the thing at the bottom because that's quite the opposite, and this could show you why. It is impossible to identify the logo at the bottom, so you can see why it's important to keep it simple on the top logo. Something else I want to tell you about this workshop is no gradients and no shadows. I don't want to see any gradients or any shadows in your design. We're going to try to make it work in black and white for a while, and this is going to be for print. Once that if you want to make something that is going to be into the digital world, like an animation or website or something, we could talk about including gradients or shadows, but right now, none of the above. Make it relevant. Any logo you design must be appropriate for the business it identifies. I found it very interesting that I found 3 logos with the letter A, and with small details, they were able to convey what was the industry that the logo identifies. You could see a horse for archer stables. As you could see, the designer just tilted the letter A and put a dot to create the head of a horse. In the middle, we have an open book for Auckland University Press, a very clever solution. And at the bottom, a scientific glassware for an alchemist labs. But as you could see, you get an idea of what are they trying to convey, the message, the logo by itself, without having to explain it. Focus on one thing. Incorporate just one feature to help your design stand out. That's it, just one, not 2, 3, or 4. The reason why I'm showing you this sample is because this is the Winter Olympics in 1960 Squaw Valley, USA. 3 triangles combined with the Olympic rings in a geometrical sculpture representing the mountain, the Olympic torch, the snowflake, and the star. Because of the many concepts, none of them could be easily identified. So we're going to be looking at this during our class. Aim for distinction. Begin by focusing on a design that is recognizable. So recognizable, in fact, that just its shape or outline gives it away. Right here, this is a package. That's all you need to know. And our final rule is to commit to memory. Quite often, one quick glance is all the time you get to make an impression. You want your viewer's experience to be such that your logo is remembered the instant they see it in the next time. The images that you see on the right is the sequence of cognition by Alina Wheeler. We're going to see them from top to bottom. This is kind of your logo, or the way people look at the logo. The shape comes first. The brain acknowledges distinctive shapes that make a faster imprint on our memory. The second is we see the color. The color can trigger an emotion and evoke a brand association. Distinctive colors need to be chosen carefully. And finally, our brain reads the form. The brain takes more time to process language, so content is third in the sequence behind shape and color. This is for you. Please, while at school, make as many mistakes as possible. It is going to be subjective to a certain degree, whether your results are successful or not. But you learn so much more and so much faster when the mistakes are yours, rather than someone else's. Thank you, and this is the end of the presentation.